Well, welcome back to another episode of my podcast here, the WAYSUNLIFE Podcast. If you're tuning in today, once again, I'm greatly appreciative for your time to take away the information that I'm dispersing and just to listen and be an open ear to the things that I'm going to be talking about in this series. Well, today I'm joined by my great friend and brother, of course, SOLARPRINCE. How are you doing?
Amazing, brother. How are you?
I'm well, very well. Kind of seems so we haven't really seen each other in a while. I think it's good though because as we've gone our separate ways, we kind of level up, so to speak.
I feel like close friends don't need to communicate every day. Like we keep each other up to date on the important stuff, what really matters, which I feel like.
I feel like we're definitely always have that bond. Talking about what I speak about in the last podcast of just having us together, hitting it hard for close to almost half a year or so, and just I don't know, just that time period of us doing what we did and hitting it as hard as we did in the gym, and as far as nutritional value goes, and how you kind of inspired me in that way and gave me a different viewpoint of my lifestyle and what was important,
Yeah, dude, that was honestly one of the funnest but most hectic periods of my life. That's when, I was just starting to kind of figure this stuff out and look into it, which, I mean, you were kind of a part of that. You kind of saw what I was doing, but I feel like we both had pretty big parts in each other's lives during that. We both went through a lot of difficult stuff, but at the same time, put it in a bigger picture. It wasn't that crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of leading into that. I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the importance, value of pure friendship, and of course relationships, honesty and that sort of thing. And I feel like honesty is really a really important part of a relationship as well as many friendships. You can tell each other a lot of things from a place of love, and sometimes it's not good things, and we kind of had those a few bumps, but
yeah, but we always were straight up with each other, what I mean? Especially in today's kind of climate and society, it's hard to have true male bonds. I just read this awesome thing on Epic of Gilgamesh the other day, and basically it was just saying how Gilgamesh, he was basically sent to kind of iron sharpens iron, and Gilgamesh became way better being pushed by Enkidu. I just think it's super important to have good relationships, especially brotherly relationships. There's this saying, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around most, and I think that's super true.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being honest with someone if you have that tight relationship. And I feel like if there's some confusion as to why, or there is some kind of negative reaction that comes from being honest to someone, it really goes to show you how immature people are nowadays. And they really don't realize that you come from a place of love, that you're only trying to help each other out, and it really shows how much you care about someone when you're honest about the things that are incredibly difficult.
Because most people like crabs in a bucket. When you start doing better, they pull you down.
Right.
And I mean, I don't even think a lot of people realize they do that. I just think it's how they're programmed. But It takes somebody that truly cares about you to tell you when you're fucking up or going down the wrong path or that sort of deal.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of times nowadays people are rewired a lot differently. Their brains are just all over the place, and they have
society
no
without
peace,
morals.
Yeah,
and people lose their morality.
It's incredibly hard to see, especially the friendships that you thought may have been authentic and real don't really feel that way, with how some people's morals.
What I noticed, I mean, not kind of what, I'm sure you've seen this too, but when you start talking about this stuff or start posting it on some social media, or not even if you're trying to grow an account or do anything, if you're just kind of putting something out there that's a little different, then I mean, people have asked me what are you talking about? That's so weird. Or I've just had straight up people that, I thought were going to be friends my entire life, obviously years ago, but friends that I've talked to forever, I haven't talked to in a while. I'll unfriend me, that sort of deal.
Right.
I mean, you lose a lot of these relationships that
Of
you thought were going
course.
to be super, super important forever.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I've already had some of that stuff happen to me already. With this account that I started, WAYSUNLIFE, it's just people are going about a different way and either unfollowing it or sliding up on my content that I post or commenting and saying, why are you doing this? Why do you think this way?
100%.
It's hard to disperse a message to someone that doesn't have open ears and listens in an intuitive way.
I started posting stuff like this on my main Instagram account. It was like my personal Instagram account that I had forever.
Right.
And I was losing like 40, 60, 80, 100 followers a day. It was ridiculous, which eventually that account, it's no more. I kind of see it as a good thing. The people that want to see what I'm posting are going to follow me, and
Right.
I'm not going to be surrounded by that negative energy of, the people asking like, why are you doing this? Or why are you posting stuff like this? Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, of course, it's difficult because the way you're trying to get information across to people and the things that you're interested in, they're not going to be of everyone's interest. And
Yeah.
really, if you're promoting something like healthy lifestyle and holistic things of that sort, you really just want to advocate for other people and advocate a lifestyle that is ideal and truly will fulfill you in life. Studies are done, these things that we may talk about and the things that we may post or content, all of this stuff, it's beneficial to people and they don't know it is because it sounds so unlogical and peculiar. And I feel like society has pushed away true remedies and what people call like self-care. I have a really weird stance on that. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but self-care it's an escape from your reality. So to speak, your self-care should be your care every day.
No, yeah, I definitely have
People
a
have
couple things that align with that.
yeah, people have, this escape from, oh, let me take a day to have self-care. Let me take a day to, escape from everything, which people don't realize the blessing you have with life itself that shows you that you're blessed with this amazing life and you don't know it. You don't see it. And society pushes it away. All these good things for you, all these methods that you can use to heal yourself naturally and meditate and to, push yourself into a much greater life. It's pushed away by society now. And we're so caught up in all these different things. And, that's where anxiety comes in and depression comes in. And all this stuff is just, it can be solved naturally by changing your lifestyle. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's all kind of compounds on top of each other. I have a lot of people that, they'll try one thing and not feel instantly better and give up on everything completely.
It's a process.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things where people always look for a quick fix or a quick escape, or with this sort of learning and understanding of your body and your mind and all of that combined, it's slow and it takes a long time. It's never ending. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And sunning is a big thing we talk about. I'll tell people to sun and they'll go outside for 30 minutes their first time and get a sunburn and be like, why would you tell me to do that? And I'm like, well, it's seed oil diet, so your skin is burning. You have been sitting inside all day your entire life. This is your first time actually trying to get sun the right way without lathering sunscreen or tanning oil on your body. You're not used to it. You got to start small steps and learn and grow yourself. What I really had to learn is, because I would get not frustrated, just kind of drained trying to help people. And what I really began to understand was you got to know when enough is enough and where you're not expending too much energy that can be expended on something else,
right,
on trying to change people.
Right. People like us that put out this kind of stuff is we try to be influential in a certain way and we don't push it upon people. You can have your own life. You can live the way you want to live. But I feel like in a way, so to speak, we're giving you a row for your boat. Use it. there's little steps you can take, and I'm not saying we're both perfect. We still have our things we have to work on. There's a lot of things that we don't do that could make our life better, but it's about taking little steps to increase your livelihood, bring back the good in your life that you needed.
Personally, mine kind of social media presence, it's more of a like, this is what I do, this is what I enjoy, this is what I like. Maybe somebody out there feels the same way.
Right.
And
you'll attract those people. You'll attract those people.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of like me just finding like-minded people and finding new tips and tricks and thought patterns that I didn't have before.
Networking is very important when it comes to stuff like advocating for just out of the ordinary, odd, like holistic stuff that people don't normally see every day. It catches people's eyes, and networking is great when it comes to finding like-minded people, but you also want to set a great example for people that aren't like-minded the way you are. Mm-hmm. And when they see you thrive in a certain way, obviously they'll see that and they'll be like, you know what? This guy's badass. He stuns his balls. What does that mean? And it just sparks a conversation. It's like, that's so odd, peculiar. How does that help you? Like, are you serious? Like, I've had plenty of times, I've had some coworkers, by the way, some of you probably don't know, but I work at the hospital. It's obviously a great deal of a ride, but that's for another story. But this conversation got brought up about someone wanted to go sun, like go tan after work. And obviously being a dude, I'd tell the guy, I'm like, hey, why don't you try sunning your balls? And he was like, he stopped and he looked at me and he was like, what? Let him out. You don't understand how much of a change it is after a certain period of time where you're consistent with it and you sunbathe fully naked.
I can't.
It's a great feeling that you can't really describe it, but it's just a very satisfying feeling, and no one understands.
Dude, it's all about that. Dude, it's all about just getting that feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people have just lost touch with themselves, and it's all about everything that I kind of base my life around is how I feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how I try to structure my life around not pleasure in like a giving myself pleasure way, but like a, I like putting myself through trials and hardships, self-improvement, I guess. I hate saying self-improvement, but I guess it is self-improvement.
In a way of sort, yeah.
But just that feeling you get, when you're really in touch with yourself, when you really have everything dialed in, you just have an energy. It's literally energy. Right. And I feel like a lot of people just aren't in touch with that.
You talking about putting yourself through trials and stuff, obviously you've been on the Jujutsu wave. I wanted to talk about this too for what did you say, about a year and a half?
Yeah, I've been doing Jujutsu probably about 2 years now. Started incorporating kickboxing and some more MMA concepts, but Jujutsu is really what I'm passionate about.
Right, so I actually got to experience a little bit of this with you. Obviously I went out of my comfort zone. I wasn't really, into that sort of concept of martial arts, but yes, it was a very, very humbling experience. Whenever I got to experience that with you and you took me through that, it was really tough. I got to see how actually strong I was. But just kind of talk about how Jiu-Jitsu has helped you get in touch with your body more, kind of how your ego's shifted a little bit, and maybe different changes you've seen by trying something like Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts.
Dude, I could not recommend Jiu-Jitsu, or honestly, I really like Jiu-Jitsu, but really any kind of hand-to-hand combat, I feel like any male especially should know. And it does a lot more than just get you stronger, get you more physically fit. I was super just angsty and like aggressive, 18 to 20, kind of how every young guy is now. Like, you just don't, especially guys like us, like we can never find somewhere to fit in because we always, you know what I mean? Like, we're always so
we would always horse around, and we would dick around with each other a lot. It was all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
I mean, the male soul is just yearning for that sort of competition, you know?
Right, of course.
So, like, we're hardwired for that sort of stuff, man. But, I've always been into working out, so I've always lifted weights, and I've always been more of a, like, I played sports and all that too, but I've always been more of like a bodybuilder, just strictly aesthetics. Man, I'll never forget my first jujitsu class. I go in, and I'm just manhandling people. Like, I'm overpowering some people who are pretty new. And then this blue belt comes up to me, and it's a 5'2", maybe 115-pound girl. I didn't know this, but she was just absolutely insane at jiu-jitsu. Like, she had this match a couple weeks before I went. Like, I was brand new, but she broke the girl's arm like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
But,
she put you on your ass.
Yeah, dude. So she comes up and she's like, "Oh, you're new. Let's roll." I'm like, "Oh." I was just like, I don't want to roll with a girl. Like, this is going to be so easy. Like, I'm going to beat her up.
She's like, come on, let's go.
Like, overconfident, ego-driven thoughts.
Right.
Dude, I put my hands on this chick, and she throws me in the meanest armbar I've probably ever been thrown in. And it was just such a humbling experience. Because, you're like, oh, this little 5'2", little long girl.
Woman.
Yeah, dude, I'm about to slam this chick around. Like, how is this even allowed? Like, are you sure you want to do this, And she absolutely shit on me. But I think it takes experiences like that to actually understand yourself. And you have to put yourself in a lot of uncomfortable situations. And I'm not talking about just, mentally uncomfortable, like physically uncomfortable too.
Yes.
Everybody always likes to think they're this badass until they get thrown in situations where they have to actually defend themselves or stand up for themselves or something like that. And I think it's an important skill to have in life, and just fuck people up too.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna talk about, like, how you said it's really just beneficial for any sort of martial art to learn as a male and female.
It's females too, of course.
Not only do you get that learning experience of learning something new to do, but you have a way to defend yourself in a certain sort of way, so to speak. But you also, you have that upper leverage on someone. No matter what kind of martial art it is, you will always have that upper on someone.
The world's crazy. You never know what's going to happen, man.
You never know. And something that you can use, like, obviously, you probably could use jujitsu in a lot of things. I mean, I've heard a bunch of controversy about how it's not ideal to use jujitsu in a real street fight, but when things are on the ground, you learn how to use your leverage. And
but I think that's one of the biggest things that learning a martial art teaches you is, like, never go looking for a fight. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
of course.
I'm not learning jujitsu so I can fuck somebody up in a street fight. I'm learning jujitsu so if I'm out at the park with my family or something, and some crackhead runs up on me and grabs my little sister, I'll have some sort of base of knowledge to draw from to defend us.
Right.
And that's the dude. I mean, I used to be like hot-headed, and I had a terrible temper, and it pounded that shit out of me real quick.
Right.
Like, it just forces you to, like, gain control of yourself, gain control of your emotions.
Right.
Because I mean, when you act out of anger, when you're on the mat, you get punished for it. And I think a lot of that translates into real life as well. As
men, our energy is very chaotic in a lot of ways. So it's good to have an outlet like that. I actually wanted to speak to you too because I picked up on a little bit of kickboxing and Wing Chun.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that the other day. Yeah. I have this instructor I always run into, and he's begging me to do Wing Chun with him.
Wing Chun is very interesting form of martial art. It's definitely different from what I thought it would be. It's very much more of defense. It's practically using your body as a cornerstone to defend yourself from different kinds of martial arts. So it doesn't really have its own, well, it does have its own way of being a martial art, but it defends against other things as far as martial arts go. But, talking about energy and just the male status, that kind of thing, I didn't know if you wanted to mention anything at all about being in a fraternity and maybe some of the things that you might have learned through that, as well as, as we were talking about finding yourself a little bit and just as far
Dude,
as
yeah.
the mental and physical hell that you you can put yourself through with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. So my fraternity, it wasn't too much physical shit beyond like push-ups and sit-ups and squats and that sort of shit and sleep deprivation. I think fraternities, you know, just in general, they're trying to fill a space of brotherhood, and I think they're so close, but they miss the mark, in my opinion. Fraternities are kind of just like any other friend group. There's cool people, there's shit people, and the one I was in was so big, dude. Like, I think there's 150 people. So I mean, it was kind of. I feel like I just had a stereotypical fraternity experience. Like,
Right.
I mean, yeah, they made us do a bunch of annoying shit, like stay up really late, and I feel like when I joined a fraternity, I was looking for something, and I thought that was gonna be the answer. You know, I was looking for a brotherhood. You know, some guys that I could work out with, and you know, when I wanted to do fun shit, which I mean, fun shit to me, I found out was not fun necessarily. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
I get it.
so it was just kind of a dead end, really. I mean, I talked to maybe one of my fraternity brothers, and it was a dude I knew before we even going into the fraternity. So I think semi fills a void that guys are looking to fill.
Right. You know, obviously I can't speak from that as of me not being in a fraternity ever, but I do feel like from an outside perspective, it looks to be as like the only positive thing that comes from organizations such as that are networking and making connections, you know.
Yeah, man, don't get me wrong. I definitely think like fraternities have their place if you want to, you know, like especially if you're a business major and you want to have a good reputation when you go into any sort of firm or something like that. But for, you know, a guy like me who just living life very focused on himself and his goals and kind of breaking out of the matrix, if you will, it didn't really have a place for me.
Right. And I feel
But I
like
definitely think it has places for, you know, certain people.
Right, yeah. I was going to say it's probably different for everyone. So
100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, I kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the ideas behind your lifestyle and what makes other people different from you. And I remember such a time ago we talked about microplastics and that sort
yeah,
of thing.
dude.
And
No, actually, I just saw a study the other day. They started finding microplastics in people's blood.
right, yeah. I mean, I feel like we are consuming microplastics every day, and it's something, if you haven't looked into that, you should probably look into that because, I mean,
Dude, I could go on forever about conspiracy theories and down the rabbit holes, but there is stuff that is very real, and you know, poison in our food supply, our water supply.
of course.
If you really look at what's in the shit you're consuming and you ask yourself why, it just does not add up.
Yeah, of course. I know we did talk about condoms. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Putting plastic
unless
on
you're using
your
lambskin,
manhood.
dude, there's a lot of little caveats with everything. You know what I mean? Like with just sex in general, condoms are bad because you know that's plastic around your genitals, but your genitals are like, you know, your life force. So
Right.
you know, that's like literally direct absorption into your skin.
It doesn't even
But you
sound
know,
ideal anyways to put plastic on your manhood. Just take a second and just take that in, you know.
but be careful because it's kind of like a catch-22 because you know you're trading energies with the female that you're having sex with. So you know, if you're not using a condom, that's almost like a spiritual bond. You're trading energies. So you know, if this is some NPC of a girl, I don't care how hot she is, but you know, like keeping up with the Kardashians type chick, you know, that's you trading energies with her. So I mean,
Right.
I mean, just have discretion when you're choosing your sexual partners.
Right. There's some stories for another time with me and you. Maybe we'll have a different episode of me and you, but
different episode of the pod.
yeah, just some of the
And
traumatizing
everything is a
experience.
learning experience, man.
Yeah, everything is, you know, me and SOLARPRINCE, we've had our common disagreements with other female beings and just our fair share of traumatic experiences.
Life's a journey, man.
It is.
I wasn't born at the point I am at now. I had made a lot of mistakes.
Right.
A lot of memories. I don't like to say anything's really a mistake, but
Another thing is when we did talk about you probably shouldn't be touching receipts. I was going to bring that up a while ago too when we were talking about just some of the things that make us different and stray away from normal things.
Literally, when I'm in a store, I'm checking out somewhere, I literally tell people, like, the cashier, like, I have a problem with receipts. I'm sorry, can you throw that away from me? Like, I do not touch receipts, man. I don't even try to really touch plastic bags anymore. Like, any plastic, really. Like, I just try to eliminate maximum plastic from my life as possible. Cookingware, Tupperware.
I read this funny, it was a Reddit post that someone had made about not touching receipts. And there's this guy that replied, and it was a really funny response. It's just this guy who talked about going into an Office Depot, right? And he went straight to the receipt section and he took all of the receipts. He bought all of the receipts that were in stock, and he took them out to this dump and just lit them on fire and threw them into the garbage. Like, just insane, like, ridiculous, most, like, it gave me a real chuckle, but it also just kind of gave me a more of a level head about how harmful it can be to constantly surround yourself with touching stuff like that and plastic things and eating with plastic. And
like I always say, I'm still really new to all this stuff, so I can't just start spitting facts. But from what I've looked at and what I've come to understand, like, there's a natural state for the body to be in, right?
Right.
And so when you start introducing all of these external things like plastics, chemicals in shampoo, chemicals in the water, preservatives in the food, that throws the body out of whack, right? So, I mean, when you throw the body out of whack every day for years and years and years, most people at this point, and with the generations alive now, every day for their entire lives, like, you become, like, your body degenerates, your mind degenerates, your spirit
your body
degenerates.
breaks down.
Your body degenerates, and I mean, it goes a lot farther than just the body too. It's literally like how you feel on a day-to-day basis. People, they shouldn't feel, back before I started figuring all this out, like, every day I felt like something was wrong with me, like I'd get a headache at some point, or my stomach would hurt at some point, or I'd be low energy, or I'd have a little, like, anxiety flash or some depression, or I'd be, like, sad some days, you know what I mean? And, like, you shouldn't feel like that. It's not normal, you know what I mean? And
right.
So many people cope and say, oh, blah, 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 depression. To me, I get so much flack for saying this, but, like, depression isn't real. You know what I mean? Like, anxiety isn't real. That's states of your brain. So if your brain's in that state constantly, you're doing something wrong.
Right. As based carnivores say, my pharmacist is the meat market.
Dude, I haven't been to the doctor in like 4 years. Dude, the last time I went to the doctor, they trying to put me on all these pills and, saying I have all this stuff. And I was like, I know I don't. Like, why am I?
Right. And you have to take into account too, I work in healthcare. Obviously, I see these doctors and, connect with these people. And
a man on the inside, fellas.
It is, most definitely. Working in healthcare definitely goes to show you not to worry people, but just for instance, doctors aren't perfect either. Doctors are people too. Within their studies and their years of experience, they aren't perfect people and they still make mistakes. And sometimes they are led and taught in wrong ways can affect the lives of other people.
Because doctors are taught so wrongly. Like, it's not their fault. I believe a lot of doctors are trying to help. It's the institution. The problem, they address symptoms, make the symptoms go away. There's still a problem there. They don't fix the problem. They just give you a bunch of shit, to make you a lifelong customer. The third leading cause of death in America? Medical malpractice.
Just the meaning behind consuming all this information from obviously biased sources. It's really hard to experience the real truth behind a bunch of things until you've been behind the scenes. I mean, obviously, you've worked in healthcare too. It's really scary. It really gives you a whole different perspective about how important wellness is and health and natural things to keep your body from feeling like, oh, I need to go see someone, I need to go to the doctor.
I think there's an answer from every ailment from the earth.
Of course. A lot of people say, well, my doctor's my best friend. I go see my doctor all the time. It's just not ideal. That just imagine yourself saying that. You know what I mean? You're trying to avoid seeing a doctor. It's a battle within yourself, your whole life, and your health and your wellness and your lifestyle. Not saying that doctors are all bad. A lot of doctors are great doctors. My mother, obviously, she co-works with a doctor. She's a practitioner in nursing, and the doctors and everyone that she works with are great doctors. Most of them are, obviously, they have that level of capability of knowledge and the things that they have learned, and obviously some have created their own methods to fixing these kind of things within sickness and dealing with sick people all the time. And there's no lost respect for the true doctors that actually know what's going on, and there's no lost respect for good doctors that have great practices and great methods, and they advocate for kind of lifestyles that we aim to be at our highest. You know what I mean? But
I think it's just misguided from the top.
I kind of want to talk about too just some of the things that you use every day to put your body through trial, such as like breathing exercises, things of that sort, maybe that help you every day with negativity, just some of the stresses that you have and how you cope with those kind of things.
So obviously, like we were talking about earlier, Jujutsu, that's a huge one. That really, it covers a lot of bases for me. Obviously, lifting, that's another big one.
Lifting heavy things, of course.
Yeah, of course, lifting, and my views on lifting have changed a lot over time. It's definitely more now a tool instead of a love-hate. I don't absolutely love it. I don't absolutely hate it. It's more of like a indifference, very much a tool to better myself. On breathing, speaking of breathing, I just got Wim Hof's book, so I'm excited to read that.
Wim Hof method, yes.
Yeah, man. I don't do a whole lot of breathing techniques right now besides, meditation a couple times a day. Yeah, I got his book. I'm super excited to read it and kind of get into that a little more.
It's kind of talking about the Wim Hof method. If you don't know what that is, it combines breathing, cold therapy, or cryotherapy, or just commitment to help you really connect more deeply to your body, and it really brings yourself to your body's potential to repair itself and sustain life within yourself and keep your blood flow up. And but it involves like really powerful inhalation, relaxing, and prolonged like breath holds. People say that it can lead to stuff like increasing your immunity and just more, so to speak, just to retake control of your body, and it really powers your mind and it puts your body through that immense experience, and it's really a great method to use. I'd definitely recommend trying out the Wim Hof method or just buying the Wim Hof book. That's a great outlet to keep yourself in check, of course, your body physically.
I'm excited to actually read the book and start implementing some of those practices and see how it goes in contrast with the sauna. I sauna a bunch, so
right, yeah.
Hot and cold.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that too. I got in the sauna yesterday for the first time in probably a few weeks, and man, I've been missing out, dude.
I might go sauna tonight. Actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll probably go sauna tonight. But
it's so good for you.
It really is.
Which, I mean, if it doesn't get too late, Yeah. I don't like doing it too close before I go to sleep because I feel like it. I don't like putting a lot of new stresses or stimulants on the body as it gets later in the day.
Sauna is very good. I'd definitely opt for sauna use, of course. Maybe one last little topic that we've connected with is the magic mushrooms, the mushrooms from the earth.
Psychedelic, man.
How has mushrooms affected your life, so to speak?
So I think mushrooms can be super beneficial if you have respect for them and use them in the proper ways. Like obviously I don't advocate for taking shrooms super often or just using them to get a little pleasure or have some fun. Whenever I partake, I get very retrospective, and I like thinking, or I like doing the things I usually enjoy to do. I really like, just getting in touch with yourself. I really like stretching, going out in nature, kind of all the hippie stuff. But I don't know, how a lot of people feel about religion, but it's. I feel like it's a gift from God to us to kind of get a glimpse into a different plane, if that makes sense.
Right. Of course.
So as long as you're using it for the proper reasons, and you're not abusing or just using it to have a good time, then I think they're very beneficial.
Yeah, that's especially on the scientific side of things, it's very powerful, and its studies go to show that it even helps in some cases of quote unquote anxiety. And health disorders, avoiding some stuff as far as like serious health conditions go, like Alzheimer's, cancer.
It's crazy how that stuff works in the brain.
Diabetes, antioxidants, all that good stuff. It's a tool that you can use for a lot of underlying things, for just maybe an attempt to see if you can heal your body in a certain way or heal your mind and take your mind to a different place. Man, this has been a great podcast.
Dude, I've had a blast.
Yeah, this was very
an honor. The first guest on WAYSUNLIFE.
Right, of course. Gotta have SOLARPRINCE on here, man.
Couldn't have dreamt it up any other way.
Legend. But yeah, if you haven't followed SOLARPRINCE's socials, you should probably go check those out. I'll have those in the description down below.
2 Instagrams, SOLARPRINCE _ and then SOLARPRINCE Aesthetics.
Haven't followed my social media and find yourself in this bonanza of conversation, you might want to go follow my account as well. It's just WAYSUNLIFE on all platforms: Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, of course. Just a reminder, just daily posting every Wednesday or every other Wednesday. There's no in between. I feel like just of how stoked I am to get this episode with you, man, it's just, I might just start posting more frequently. So, but
this is pretty good. I'll hop on anytime.
Yeah,
but this was a blast.
It was great. It was great to have you. It's good to catch up and explore some different perspectives from another person.
Yeah.
Of course, that's always a good thing.
Good for the soul.
Right. Hope everyone enjoys your day. Thank you for listening to another episode of the WAYSUNLIFE Podcast, and we hope to see you next week.